Yeah, exactly. I don't believe it. Is it?
We got safety. Oh, sorry. That's what's safety said.
Don't look at Lee. You gotta look at me. All right, we're gonna get started here in just 1 second. Wait. Gotta go all the way to the beginning. Get away all my stuff. There we go. First off, Lee is absolutely correct. My first time at Lee, it was in a form training. I know we've all been in the form training the first time you come into EO, the cashier check or credit card processes or whatever. They put you in that room, and all of a sudden you got to do lifelines and share your soul to everybody else in the room. You're like, I just came here to learn how to get my P&L bigger and how to fire employees correctly, how to deal with my partner who's a jerk, you know, all those things. And it's funny because year 1 through sometimes year 10, but around year 3 within EO, you start to see people shifting. When you first meet new people coming into EO, they're like, so what's your business? And what's your P&L? What's your EBITDA? Blah, 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 blah. About year 3 or 4, you know, you see them start sipping tea and they go, you know, I'm on work-life balance and, you know, I'm trying to get this space with me and my wife. And, you know, I have a number and, you know, the number's irrelevant, but the number's the number. They keep talking about the number. And then you get to, you know, about year 8, and either people have hit their number or they're in that perpetual loop, you know, back down to EBITDA and P&L and all that, or they've hit their number and they realize, okay, I hit the number, now what? You know, it's kind of like, I'm still pretty young because I'm still in EO, even though they keep using the age requirement. YPO, I'm in YPO now, and at least in YPO, once you turn 50, they kick your ass out. They make you go to YPO. They call it gold now. It used to be called world president. But, so EO, you're like, at least I'm still young. I'm not ready to go out to pasture. And my number wasn't actually a big enough number that I can go out to pasture. And so you start to see people reevaluating and saying, you know, is it just about that one event? Or is it about a lifestyle? Is it about doing things that drive me passion? And by doing that, events happen and dollars flow. And I think is hopefully my presentation, I'll teach you where the stove's hot because I've touched all the wrong buttons on the stove and burnt myself and my friends and mostly me. But it got to a point where it became more about aligning my passion and aligning my value set with outcomes. And what it ended up producing was, and I was talking to some fellow EOers out in the hall, who I hadn't seen in a couple years, which is awesome. But I went from swinging the bat, trying to get, you know, $500,000, $1 million, $5 million raises to, if I try and raise $5 million, if I try and raise $1 billion, it's all the same to me. And I actually sometimes have easier success raising those multiples of hundreds of millions or even the couple $1 billion deals I've been involved with as, you know, raising $500,000. So first off, I like to tell people where I sit, so before I do the presentation. Quick show of hands, how many folks in here have done kind of their core value set, their life value set with their forum? Just kind of what your key tenets are? Okay, cool. The rest of you are still working on P&Ls and EBITDAs. Cool. So first off, this was written on the track at Talladega last year when I took my daughter and son and wife. I have all my bucket lists, which I just keep making the bucket bigger and bigger. It's all about life experience, but I had fun with that because I think Ricky Bobby is a sage. Right up there with Vern Harnish. You should rewatch Talladega Nights and Step Brothers. Both are actually Step Brothers. So, life mission statement, here's mine. Since we're all form confidential now in this room, I just want to tell you where I set my value set. Hopefully you'll see in there that there's no number, there's no dollar amount, there's no P&L on that. It's all who I want to be as a person, with my family, with my wife, with my friends. And what that then permeates into, what I believe it permeates into, is the way I conduct myself in business and the way I put business transactions and who I partner with in businesses. And so I would encourage all of you kind of, going back to Simon Sinek, let's start with why. Start with your why. And if you know your why, it makes it a lot easier when you're out either trying to source capital or source companies that you're thinking about acquiring. So, quickly, I'll run through my life story just to show you all that if a guy like me can be standing on the stage and talk about raising lots of money, any freaking body can. So it's me, the little blonde-haired nominee at Yosemite National Park. I think like most folks that I've learned in EO and YPO, particularly most men in EO and YPO, but probably the women it applies to, I had daddy issues. So me and my dad, not a great relationship, parents divorced, I was a juvenile delinquent, and next slide, please. So this was me in high school. Not really me for those of you in Animal House, but I couldn't find a picture of me in high school, and I'm like, that guy represents who I was in high school. I think I graduated with below a 2.0. I was recommended by my class as most likely to go to prison. And so I said, all right, they're saying I got a chance. And so what did I do? I went in the military. And three things, I tell people three things that have kind of set the course of my life. Number one is I married way outside my class level with my wife. She's freaking a rock star and I love her to death. Number two is joining EO at the ripe age of, I think I was like 31 or 32 when I joined EO. I was in for 12 years. And yes, Lee got me on that board and ended up becoming chapter president and super involved with the chapter. But EO, I think, got me to look, as we were saying earlier, look more inside and who I want to be as a person, the best version of myself. And then joined the military. And like I said earlier, picture of me in high school. This was me in the Gulf. And what it charged me to do is have discipline, live for others, live for team, have integrity. Make sure if you've all seen that video of the Navy SEAL talking about making your bed. And it also gave me the belief that I may not be Harvard educated, I may not be birthing a giants, MIT, all that kind of stuff, but I'll outwork anybody. And if it takes 24 hours a day, I'll work 24 hours a day. That really kind of worked for me until it didn't. But that was a great thing to join the military, and I didn't go to prison. So I get out of the military, and in the military, I learned kind of one thing, that there's an intersect, and this comes to where my passion is, and where I look in deals, which is if there's a political intersect. And so when I was in the first Gulf War, sent out in the desert, said, 19 years old, and they just told us, I was one of the first 500 guys there, and Saddam Hussein had about 500,000 troops. He's getting ready to go into Saudi Arabia and take it. Strategically, if he was smart, he would have done that. But he's at the Kuwaiti border, and we're there about a week after, 2 weeks after he invaded Kuwait. And they put us 3 guys about every 5 or 6 miles along the border, and they had us dig foxholes, and we had small arms, machine guns, stuff like that, anti-tank rockets. And they have us spread out, and I remember General McCaffrey was our general, and he says, you guys need to fight, and you're gonna have these zones of fire, and blah, blah, blah. And they had to be a lieutenant, because I was a private. And some lieutenant asked General McCaffrey, he says, so, sir, what's our fallback position? And he goes, there is no fallback position. He goes, you're to die in place. And so I'm 19 years old. I joined the military, 1, not to go to prison. 2, they were going to give me $3,500 if I made it through Ranger School so I could buy a Camaro. So those are my 2, that was my number. $3,500 was my number. I was a little sacrificed in my life. I didn't get the whole life thing. And so they spread it and they said, you're going to die in place. So then you go back out to your foxhole and he goes, but don't worry, young man, when you die out there in the desert, the whole weight of the U.S. military is going to come raining down on Saddam Hussein. So that really doesn't help me much. I'm dead. But it got me thinking. I said, okay, now how in the heck? I mean, obviously I went down to recruit. This was all voluntary. But how the heck did I get sent all the way over here? And what were the reasons behind me getting sent over here? Was it really about democracy in Kuwait, or was it about oil, or whatever, economic for the U.S.? And I said, no matter what it is, when I get out of the military, I'm going to get involved in politics at some level. I was originally going to be a school teacher, and I said, but I'm going to get involved in politics because I just want to have my hands somewhat on the wheel of whether a stop sign goes in at the corner, or how much I pay in taxes, or whether or not I can start a business in this space, or whether my son or I get sent back around halfway around the world to fight and potentially die. And so I get out and I start volunteering. I'm kind of libertarian, but I started volunteering for the Republican Party, and ended up befriending Senator Bob Dole. Went to work for him, And then through that, started building my Rolodex, and this will go into some of my takeaways for you is building relationships before you need them. And so I just started collecting relationships and just staying in touch with people, not because I hadn't asked, not because I wanted something from them, but genuinely just to have a relationship with someone. And so through that, our former governor of Colorado, after Bob Dole won my states but lost the war, reached out to me and said, hey, I want you to run my campaign for governor. And so I took, again, following passion, I took a 50% pay cut. I had a baby on the way and rolled the dice, and we won by the smallest margin in Colorado history, 0.8%. Now, bookend that, Governor Owens won his re-election by the largest margin in Colorado history. But it gave me a great opportunity. I came in to his administration at the age of 27, and he said, you can have any job. And so I immediately went around and asked people who, because I'd never been in government, Republicans hadn't had the governor's office in 25 years, so everybody knew was senile or dead. And so I said, so my Democrat friends, I said, what job should I ask for? And he said, be deputy chief staff. He goes, and here's your job description. You get to interface with the White House, with the business community, with local elected officials, and he goes, you'll build a huge Rolodex in a short period of time. And so I went in intentionally developing relationships. Again, not knowing what I'm going to do with them, but developing those relationships. And folks who are household names like the Phil Anschützes, down to folks, county commissioners who you would never know. But developing that Rolodex of individuals and people I can lean on and doing favors for them without any intention of getting a favor in return. And it came back to help me spades down the road. So, the bad. So, any of you seen the good, the bad, and the ugly? Couple hands? Okay. It's one of my favorite movies. So, I'm going to go over the bad. So, you know a little bit about me and where my background is. So I jump out and I start, Governor Owens was going to run for president. I was traveling around the country getting that set up. He was originally supposed to be the one running against Senator Obama. And he ended up having some personal issues and had to drop out of the race before it even really got started. I started this company basically under the auspice to run him for president. And I'm like, okay, well, now what do I do? Well, I know politics, I know marketing, advertising. I'll start a PR advertising agency, lobbying, that kind of thing. And quickly, where my passion aligned, I started having clients, and I started helping them with political intersecting. Again, going back to where I add value, where my value proposition is being able to navigate the political space. Whether it's in land use, natural resources, we were talking earlier, or what's a political intersect? Almost everything. I mean, what hours of operation this hotel can operate, how much they can charge. All of those things have political intersects, zoning, entitlements, natural resources. And so through that, clients would hire me and they'd pay me retainers or success fees or whatever. And I started watching these deals, and they were $50 million, $100 million, $1 billion deals. And I said, well, had I not connected those two pieces, this deal would have never came together. And those guys, I started learning their stories. And I'm like, yeah, maybe they weren't going most likely to go to prison, but they're not that far ahead of me. I mean, there were some guys that they didn't graduate high school, and multi-billionaires had done hundreds of deals. And so, and then I learned the hard way, and I'll give you a couple of 4 examples. So there was one time, again, one of these relationships called and said, hey, we need a rider on the energy bill. This is circa 2007. And I said, okay. And each senator at that time, back when you had pork in the budget, which I would advocate should come back, but each senator got 2 things, chits, that they could trade. So I find, a senator who hadn't used one of his chits on the energy bill, and I go and I get this rider, the tax issue added to the energy bill for these. One gentleman was in YPO, the other gentleman was a friend of mine. I was a trustee at the university, Metropolitan State University. He was on the board with me. Big oil and gas guy, multi-billionaire. So I get this done, and they get it on the bill, and one guy calls me in YPO, and he goes, hey, thank you so much for getting that through. He goes, hey, if you ever need, money for one of your candidates or one of your things, just call me, I'll max out. Never told me, how much money was in play. I never asked. Fast forward about 3 weeks later, the secretary of the billionaire guy calls me, and she called me and she said, John, I don't see you on the guest list for the party. And I go, what are you talking about? And she goes, well, for the writing, you got on the energy bill. She goes, Alex made $700 million on that. And I go, I spent about 3 days making phone calls. I didn't get a bottle of wine. So that's the bad. And so I said, you know what? Going forward, I'm going to start positioning myself in these deals where, if not for my relationships or someone like mine, the deals wouldn't happen. And so that was one. There was another one. I built another bad. I built an agency in the EU with a number of political operatives and some PR folks. Became wildly successful, and I got the seed capital in it. I put my seed capital in it. I did it on a handshake. I did it through relationships. Came back to bite me when at the end of the year, I said, okay, so how are we doing financially? I said, oh, about that. We went ahead and did our incorporation documents, and we just couldn't fit your name on a piece of paper. I go, okay, so, we just created a $30 million company, and, it was on handshakes and friendships. And I'm a big believer in karma, but I said, okay, here's what it is. I'll roll on forward. There's another time, and again, I'm giving you all the bad examples, since we're on the bad. There's another time I had it's about a $1.1 billion oil and gas project in the San Juan Basin, New Mexico. And I bring the capital source into the deal, and we paper it up. This time I'm like, okay, I'm gonna paper this thing up. So I paper it up, and my payout on it was somewhere around $20 million or so for my equity percentage carried interest on the wells. And no sooner had we got it papered up that my partner, the one who was going to make the lion's share of money, he goes, we got to renegotiate your percent of carried interest. It can't be 5%. We're going to take that down. We need to go to 3.5%. And at the time, I had my company was probably $7 or $8 million. So it was substantial money for me at the time. I'm stressing over it. I said, should I just renegotiate the deal? Even though we had this agreement, and if not for me, he would have never been able to get this acreage. And against my better judgment, I said, okay, I'll renegotiate. And I said, I'll take the 3.5%. Well, no sooner had I done the 3.5%, he goes, this deal's just getting skinny. It's getting skinny. And when Vern was talking earlier about the guys that are professional negotiators, he goes, this deal's getting skinny. Our profit margins aren't there. We're gonna have to take another haircut. We need to get you down to 0.075%. And I go, okay, so I said, you're still gonna probably make around $800 to $1 billion, and now I'm down around $3 million to $2 million. And so I said, I'm gonna walk away, I'm gonna shut it down. And he says, you have a no-compete. And I said, I have a no-compete for 2 years. And I said, that resource has been there for 1 billion years. And I said, I'd rather walk away from this deal than do this deal. And so I think another word of wisdom would be being willing to walk away from a deal if it doesn't fit your value set. And so I walked away from that deal. I sat on the sidelines for 2 years. The deal blew up. We never got it done because it was my relationship. And we brought it back forward 2 years and 1 month. I brought in capital partners out of Hong Kong, and we brought $1 billion in. And they actually gave me higher carried interest and better terms, and ended up with about $40 million on that deal. And so, again, being able to recognize and being able to walk away. And then, let me back up here. So, shifting over to where I'm at now, I have a marketing advertising agency, which is really, it does that, but it also allows me to see deal flow with the political, again, my political intersect. I see a lot of assets that are either stranded, if not for a political solution, won't happen. And so I go out and raise capital around those opportunities. And so we raise anywhere from, we just finished one where we raised $15 million, more friends and family, to, we'll do bigger ones with institutional investors that are multiples of hundreds of millions or even up towards $1 billion. So my keys to raising capital, again, align with your passion. You've heard me say that over and over. I heard someone earlier in the Q&A talk about getting stuck working back in a business. It should always be I get to, I don't have to. So I wake up every morning and say, I get to do this. I don't have to do this. So aligning with your passion, build relationships before you need them. Have a story in a BHAG, Big Area Audacious Goal, to use Jim Collins. So when you go in to meet with capital partners, whether it's friends and family, or it's angel money, or private equity, have a story and make it a compelling story. They're gonna, one, bet on you as a person, and that goes into your reputation matters, but they're gonna bet on the story. What's the story of this business? What's the story of this opportunity? Have your story compelling, have it passionate. I mean, get excited, if you don't have that fire in your eye, how do you expect them to get the fire to pick out their pen and write a check, or for a nice multiple? Research your investors so you don't waste your time and theirs. I wasted so much time, and it's demoralizing when you go in and the guy's like already tuning you out within the first minute, and he's like, yeah, I'll introduce you to this other buddy, which he never does. I'll introduce you to this other buddy, but that's not really my space, and they give you kind of the fundraising two-step. But do your research beforehand. You'll save yourself a lot of time, and you'll also save your morale a little bit, so that you're not having, I love the guys who say, I had 99 doors slammed on me, and I finally found that one that opened. Well, maybe there was 50 that you didn't have to have slammed on you, maybe you only had to have 49 slammed in your face. I've had 100 doors slammed in my face, so I've gotten smart about that. And these are basic blocking and tackling. I can't tell you how many times folks will come in and they'll say, hey, can you help me raise money, or will you invest? And I go, okay, so let me see your packet. Let me see, what are we looking at? One, either their story is not comprehensible, or two, it's kind of all over the map. And so I'd say, sit down with a professional. I think Vern talked about it earlier. Sit down with a professional, get a nice, clean executive summary packet of what the opportunity is, what the returns look like, basic find when they need money, the timing, the staging. And then also, this goes to the next one, be transparent. If you're gonna make money as either a manager on the project, or you're sourcing the capital and you're gonna pay yourself on that, that's all fine, just be transparent about it. I think some people sometimes get really nervous and they're like, well, how are we gonna tell them that we're gonna take a management fee? Or, how do I get myself compensated? This is gonna take 3 years, and my wife isn't cool with me starting this out for 3 years, and all that. I think just be transparent on the front end. You'll have folks that'll be unrealistic, and they'll say, you know what? I want you to put a ton of money in, and I want you to work for free, and I'm going to take all the equity. Guess what? Our values don't align. But I think being transparent and right up front about how you're going to get compensated, whether it's on the front end, back end, or all the way through, I think will ingratiate yourself with some of the funders. I appreciate it when people tell me that, and I have no problem with someone making money while they're working in the salt mines. We're talking about reputation. Don't grip the bat, or you'll strike out every time. And this goes back to walking away. So I realize a lot of times when you're out raising capital, you've got the bank calling behind you saying, we're gonna call the note, or you have other investors saying, we're gonna take your equity, and you're stressing out, and you're getting no sleep, or whatever. If you portray that when you walk out into the capital markets, I run away. If I see someone walking in, and can you give me a check today? I'm like, okay, well, I'm out running. You don't want to see that. So I would say, even if you got that going on, do not grip the bat. And part of that is being willing to walk away. So you know what? These are the terms I'm going to live by. If this deal's going to happen, it's going to happen this way. Or else I'm willing to get up and walk away from this coffee, or this project where if they get you to the 11th hour and they whittled you down by 50%, again, using the descriptor by Bernie user. And this is another one, do not use bar napkins as contracts. I've done that a couple times. The most recent 20-year buddies of mine, not an EO or YPO, we did it on a bar napkin, literally at this steakhouse here in town, Shanahan's. And I merged about a $15 million company into their $450 million company. And then we were like, oh, we'll let the lawyers figure it out. But these are basic tenets we agreed to. And, you'll buy down my equity over this amount of time at this rate and all this. 5 years later, about another net negative, about $5 to $8 million out of my pocket, I ended up having to walk away from that relationship. And that was 2 years ago. And so, again, I did it on a handshake, and reputations do matter because I probably won't ever do a deal with them again. But yeah, use attorneys. Once it gets to the point where this is a real deal, handshake and bar napkins are ill-advised. So, where do I find my passions these days as President Kagame of Rwanda? I like to do projects in developing areas abroad and then here in the United States. And so and I'm, again, with the political intersect, I'm big in the natural resource space. So, minerals, oil and gas, water, rail, ports, stuff like that. And so again, my political background, I run campaigns around the world. And by doing that, particularly in developing parts of the world, you see a lot of opportunity. And so you pair that with capital, with candidates. And for me personally, that's kind of my wheelhouse, it's my sweet spot. And then I try to find folks to either support through their campaigns or once they get in office to advise that are actually moving the dial. Again, going back to my life credo, moving the dial for the people. So whether it's bringing electricity or bringing rail or education or getting schooling for the girls, democracy, all those type of things, it fills my soul bucket. And by bringing good capital sources in that aren't just there to rape and pillage and move on down the road, it helps move the dial a little bit. So that's where I align my investing as well as my time business-wise abroad. And then here domestically, and this is where I'll divert from where Vern said EOers should never do business, and he didn't say that. He said, be careful doing business with fellow EOers. I'll tell you, in YPO, it's strongly encouraged to do business with fellow YPOers outside their forum. Forum for bono. But outside their forum, they actually encourage it because they said these people have a certain ethical code, they have something to lose because if they screw someone over in a deal, they have to report to the chapter, they can be kicked out, you know. And so you have a little higher level of trust in dealing with that. EO is interesting. EO, I get the forum thing, but when I was at EO, it was kind of like, hey, don't talk to anybody about trying to source capital and any of that kind of stuff. Maybe it's changed a little bit in the last couple of years, but this company, Renewable Water Resources, which is a subsidiary of Zeppelin, a company I'm part of, when my 11-year EO forum broke up, 3 of my forum mates and I started a company, again, looking at opportunities primarily in the land and resource space here in Colorado. So this is my local, and I have an international local. And so it's 4 EOers, 4 of us. I think one, Hugh, is in YPO, the other 2 are not in EO or YPO anymore. But, you know, we've been informed together 10 years. We know each other's warts. We know each other's blind spots, which is kind of awesome. Like when you're doing business with someone, you're like, oh yeah, Brian's not a detail guy. And everybody's comfortable with it. And, you know, you can speak from Gestalt and advice, but Gestalt. And, you know, there's just this level of, we all know each other, and we also look out for each other and we're held accountable to each other. So I actually like doing business with my former forum mates. In this case, this is an exciting one. In Colorado, for those of you from out of state, we're short about, the number one thing that will slow down Colorado's economy is water. And we're short about 500,000 acre-feet, that's how water is measured, 500,000 acre-feet of water along the Front Range, so from Fort Collins to Colorado Springs over the next 30 years. And the Platte River, which you see right downtown here, is the most over-appropriated river in the United States. So in order to get water to keep the economic engine, because we're a high desert, Colorado, every river flows except for one little piece. We're the top of the topography of the continental US. Every river flows out, so we have to use our resources here in Colorado. And the challenge is, the water is where the people aren't. So there are big blocks of water, but they're long distances. And so you have all sorts of governmental intervention, you have all sorts of legalities, and water is 50% political, 50% legal. So that's the intersect where you plan. And so we're working on a project right now. It's about all in, it's about an $800 million project. Where we'll move a portion of water, not even near what the Front Range means. It's about 22,000 acre-feet is all we'll be moving. But we're really excited about it. And so I spend about 35% of my time working on this because it aligns with my passion. And as you saw on the first slide, second slide past Talladega, is it moves the dial and it leaves a mark for here in Colorado. So I get super passionate about it, and we laugh, me and my forum mates, because half the time we don't even look at the numbers, like how much money we'll make. It's like not even, we're more excited about what we can do for the communities that the water will be coming from, as well as on the Front Range. So those are things I do. And then this is my son. This is us in the BVIs in July. And so why do I do all this? One, move the dial, all that kind of stuff, but so that I can have experiences and have bar stories. And I encourage everyone to have that list of bar stories you want to have when you do these things and put these long hours in. My son and I got my captain's license, but I've never been open ocean, and we did it for 2 weeks, and it was pretty crazy. We left the port. My son had never been on a sailboat, so we just took off, and I never open sailed, and we figured it out. After about 3 days, we knew what we were doing. So 3 days is about the time frame before you don't sink to the bottom. This is my wife, kids. I'm just gratuitously talking about me. This is, again, going back to my what drives me, and it's our faith. This is a clinic that we support. We've been running for 12 years down in Nicaragua. We feed about 150 kids 4 days a week, full-time doctors and dentists, and we have all sorts of English as a second language programs. They're having a civil war right now, so it's extremely trying times. I took the YPO chapter down there in February when the civil war broke out in April, not because of us, other stuff. Put that curse on it. But again, aligning your passion, and then when I am doing deals, these are the things in the back of my head. I'm like, okay, I can be doing even more at the clinic. I can be doing even more, just be in service of others, and it's exciting. It makes it fun. So here's the free stuff to make you smarter. I used to like when I come to all the universities and stuff, when people would give me free stuff. You guys have probably read most of these. And then, Vern, I had that on. I wish Vern was still here. I was like, damn, dude, I was pimping your book. But so these are my personal list of God must absolutely read. I probably read E-Myth. I haven't read in 2 years, but all the other ones I read at least once a year. And in fact, one of my corporate clients, we just did a Simon Sinek Start With Why. We're launching a national first responder foundation, and it was cool because I knew more than the person who they paid $15,000 to come in and tell us how to start with why. I was like, well, actually, Simon meant this, and I think I pissed the guy off. But this will be my pass along to you, and that's it. I'll open it up for Q&A. Thank you. Yeah.
Something like that, so the intersection between political and legal. You said, like you said, $300 million project or something like that. What does that mean, $300 million project with the intersection between political and legal? Who's paying? Where does that come from? How is that?
Sure. In the case of water, the way the water is paid for is you get an adjudicated water right, much like if anyone here is in oil and gas, or if you own real estate. I know we're talking about real estate quite a bit this morning. So you go through a court process, and they give you a decree that says you own 22,000 acre feet of water. That process costs a couple $1 million to go through water court. It takes probably 3 to 5 years. You have to have community support, political. You have to have end users, political. End users being cities or municipalities. And so when you get that decree from the court, and you have to have signed contracts from the end user, they have to have the financial wherewithal. You have to have the property under control. That's what we raised the 15. The property we bought for about $12 million, $3 million is going primarily to lawyers and consultants. But at the end of that process, I hand over the decree to the municipality that's buying the water, and then they issue bonds to their ratepayers, and then they give me a check for about $400 million. And then the other $400 million is the infrastructure. And usually the end user will build the infrastructure. That's not on me. Sometimes if it's a smaller end user here in Colorado, and it's true in most of your western states, but in Colorado, if it's a smaller municipality, sometimes they won't have the ability to do all of it, so they'll lease the infrastructure. And so you bring in an infrastructure partner that would actually build the pipes and the water treatment facilities and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, the arbitrage is I can buy the water on the ranches at about 12 million. I walk it through the process and then it's worth about 400 million. What else? Yes?
Staying with that, because obviously those numbers are pretty interesting. And what are the bad stories of that? So you buy it and you don't have the political will to get it through, or and I guess, have you had some of those? Maybe it's just going to be really good, but maybe it's easy.
It's not easy. No, it's not for the faint of heart. And there's a great, we're just talking about water. There's a great quote that said in the West, and probably John Wayne said, or Lee Van Cleef. It's whiskey's for drinking, water's for fighting. And water is highly political in the West. So yeah, there's this project that I'm the owner of. I was a minority owner in the project. Again, my political intersect. The guy who owned all the ranches that the water was underneath, he approached me after banging his head politically for about 15 years. We met down at this hotel here in Brown Palace and we're having a cigar. He goes, you know, my friends told me I gotta hire you because you can figure out this political thing. And this guy walked around with a 6-shooter on his side. He was like right out of Marlboro Man in the West. Like, well, you may want to put the gun away. That may help get people to talk to you a little better. He had spent close to about $20 million over the years trying to get this forward. So he brought me in and I took a minority equity position, having learned from my past mistakes, and then started project managing this. And we were literally 2.5 years ago, we were on the 5-yard line from filing in water court. And then pretty much my job's done until the event happens, we get the decree from the court, then the lawyers take over. And he got pancreatic cancer and died. And so I'm landing at DIA, and I knew he was probably gonna pass away. Our majority partner was a major oil and gas company who invested about $25 million in the project. CEO calls me and goes, Sean, oil's at $40. We've got $3 million in the escrow account. I'm just going to sell these ranches. I can't wait 5 years because I'm laying people off. And so I'm going to rate the escrow, so I'm shutting down the project. And at this point, I had probably, between my time and my cash, about $600,000 in the project. And I probably got a pretty loud fuck in my truck driving home. And then by the time I got home, it's about a 45-minute drive from DIA to my house, I said, well, I've been running the attorneys, I've been running the engineers, I've been running the political. I said, all I gotta do is go raise the capital. And so 2 days later, I called up the CEO. I said, well, can I come meet with you? I said, I want to make an option agreement on the ranches and I want to move forward. $40,000 in legal fees later, we couldn't come to terms because every time he figured out I was really close to filing and he was walking away from about, at that time, the project was a little bigger. He was walking away from about $350 million. He kept wanting back in the deal, but he wanted me to carry all the legal costs and all that. So again, back to my point of being able to walk away, and finally got to the point he wanted $150 million for these 2 ranches that originally he agreed $20 million for. And I said, you know what, I'm out. And I started looking at other ranches that had the hydrology profile, and I started in that process, and again, karma works. My former partner's widow called me, and they had retained the largest ranch. And she said, so what are you doing? I said, I'm trying to keep your Gary's legacy alive. And she goes, well, I'd sell you our ranch. And so we did it off market. I ended up buying that ranch for $6 million. It appraised out at $13 million. So my basis was solid, and that's how I got back in the deal. But each one has its kind of life cycle. And I could have, when it blew up, I could have walked away and said, it's a day it wasn't meant to be or whatever.
Yeah, can you talk about basically when you choose to walk away and when you choose to fight? Because I don't know, it seems to me the partner stuff, you fight it with an attorney. I'm going through something similar with a partner where those are the 2 options, and I don't know what to do.
No, I hear you, brother. So I'll give you my the one I walked away from last year, the $450 million ad agency, and then I have equity in, I still have equity, but whatever. So, I did a lot of soul searching with my firm. I'm still in a quarterly EO firm, and when I was walking away, I was like, they owe me, like literally on the P&L line, they owe me about $3.5 million minimum that they need to write me a check, let alone me even exercising my equity positions, which they couldn't pay me for those, they didn't have enough cash. And I could have easily taken them to court, and they know that too. And quite frankly, it could have been extremely damaging for the company because it would have opened up their books to one of their adversaries. And their adversary, these are big companies, would have actually paid for all my legal fees and everything like that. But I looked at it and I said, okay, so a couple $1 million, I'm not being dismissive, I mean, it's real money, but a couple $1 million, and I'm gonna easily spend the next 2 to 3 years being deposed, going to court cases, being pissed off, going home, being angry, with my wife and my family, and my energy just being sucked in that morass, because I wasn't gonna salvage the relationship. And so I said, and some of my foreign mates were like, no, you gotta sue him, gotta go to court, you'll win. So it's slam dunk. And I said, I can do that, but at what cost? Or I can, call a day there and focus my energy over here and grow new things. And that's what I chose to do. I think everyone has to individually assess where they come from, but that's, again, I've said it probably 6 times up here, I'm a huge believer in karma, and karma's struck a couple times on them already, and I'm pretty sure, in fact, my YPO foreman said they're gonna be back by August, because they knew how much revenue I brought into the company and stuff. Everything is, again, because it was on a bar map, and this is how it played to my benefit, at the time I saw it, was we didn't have a no compete. And we didn't have any of that. So when I walked out, I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna take all my clients with me. And so day one, I had a profitable, lily pad, but yeah. But I think it's one of those personal journeys. I think you have to say at what cost. If you're gonna engage in litigation, whether you're right or wrong, what's it gonna sap you from, and will it steal from you doing other things? And if it doesn't, great. There's some guys, they sue everybody, and they still can keep driving on. I'm not one of those guys that get too emotional.